Jo is chained to a chair. A drinking bird toy keeps dripping water on her face, and they're forcing her to watch a broadcast. Proof that her own plan just blew up in her face. That's where we left off, and episode 4 has a title that should scare you more than anything else this season. Murder Hornets. Because Jo didn't just poke the hive last episode, she burned it down. And now every single hornet inside it is coming out at once, and some of them are going to sting back. If you haven't watched episode 3 yet, stay with me for 60 seconds, because you are not going to understand how dangerous episode 4 is about to get without it. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to have a theory of your own you need to drop in the comments. Let's do the fast version first. Kyle and Cruz dragged Alexandra, the Ukrainian double agent working inside Russia's SVR, into a CIA black site in Baltimore. Everyone assumed she sold Jo out. 2 fake cops showed up at Jo's house. Jo had to shoot her way out of her own front yard, but Alexandra swore she wasn't the leak. Her father died fighting Russia. Her brothers are still fighting Russia. She had zero reason to help the people helping her hurt them. Kyle believed her and pulled back before things with her family in Kiev turned ugly. Here's the twist, though. Even if she didn't leak Jo's location, she wasn't innocent. Alexandra handed the CIA something massive, a list of American officials Russia had successfully honey-trapped over the years. Senators, government officials, real power, real names, all compromised through money, investments, or old-school blackmail photos. Jo's move? Don't expose everyone. Leak just enough. 1 low-level arrest, no names, and let panic do the rest. Byron said it best. Burn down the barn to hunt the mice. Every handler, every asset, every compromised official was about to scramble out of hiding at once. And Jo put Alexandra directly in the blast radius, arresting her publicly, knowing every contact she ever had would come looking for her. Brilliant plan. Also a plan that could blow up in Jo's face instantly. And it did, because the final scene of episode 3 shows Jo strapped down, forced to watch a broadcast confirming a Russian spy was arrested on American soil. Her own operation may be the exact reason she's chained up right now. She didn't just set a trap for Russia. She might have walked straight into her own. Now, let's talk about episode 4 itself. The official synopsis says a frantic hunt is launched as the team races against time, while at home, Neil struggles with growing fears. Sounds simple? It is not simple. If Jo's leak worked, every handler and honeypot connected to Alexandra's network is already panicking. Which means Jo's team isn't chasing one target. They're juggling multiple moving pieces at once, racing to grab every compromised name before they either vanish or turn violent to protect themselves. And racing against time isn't just about catching spies, it's about damage control, because there are sitting U.S. senators on this list. Real careers, real power, real national security consequences are on the line. One panicked senator trying to cover his tracks, or worse, warning the others. And this entire operation collapses in real time. I also think this is the episode where we find out the infection runs deeper than anyone on Jo's team wants to admit. This hunt might not stay contained to random handlers, it might start closing in on a name inside Jo's own circle. This whole season has been building toward one idea. Trust is no longer safe to assume. Episode 4 might be where that idea finally gets a face. Then there's Neil. Kate already confronted her mother, asking her to quit. Jo said no. Now the synopsis tells us Neil is struggling with growing fears, and I think that's code for the breaking point finally arriving. This isn't abstract worry anymore. Men showed up at their front door. His daughters were nearly caught in a car chase on the way to school. Danger keeps finding its way home no matter what Jo does. I'd bet money this episode gives us the most raw confrontation between Jo and Neil this season. The moment he finally says enough. And if my earlier theory holds, this is the crack that eventually forces Jo to walk away from the job entirely once she's rescued. We still don't know who's actually holding Jo in the present timeline. Everyone assumes Russia. I'm not so sure. What if Alexandra didn't survive being thrown to the wolves by the CIA? Her brothers are still fighting on the front lines, armed, angry, and connected. If episode 4 drops even one small clue pointing toward Alexandra's family instead of the Kremlin, it flips the entire season on its head. And there's another wild card here too. Jo was planning to hand the low-level targets to the FBI while the CIA handled the dangerous ones. Different agencies, same target list, zero coordination. That's a recipe for disaster. One rushed FBI move could tip off a Hornet Joe's team was quietly closing in on, and suddenly the controlled hunt turns into total chaos. I also can't stop thinking about Byron, Caitlyn, and how far Joe is actually willing to go. Byron has already shown he'll sacrifice people like Alexandra without blinking if it serves the mission. Episode 4 is going to test exactly how far Joe lets him go, and whether she's willing to become just as ruthless as the people she's hunting in order to protect her country. I don't think the show wants to give her an easy answer, and I don't think we're getting one either. And let's talk about that title one more time, because real murder hornets don't retreat when disturbed, they swarm, they attack. If the writers picked that title on purpose, and they absolutely did, this isn't just a quiet manhunt for scared, cooperative assets. Some of these people are going to fight back, hard. That likely means violent confrontations, and given this show's history, possibly a death we don't see coming. Nobody in Joe's circle is guaranteed to make it out of this season. So here's what I genuinely think happens. Joe's team scrambles to contain Alexandra's exposed network before it spirals, and at least one of these hunts turns violent. Neil finally forces a real confrontation with Joe about the job and their family's safety. We get a small but important hint about who's really holding Joe, whether that's the Russians or something closer to Alexandra's own bloodline. And I think the episode ends with a twist even bigger than episode 3's. Before I wrap up, I want to talk about a few characters who deserve more attention. Cruz has always been the one who questions the mission more than anyone else on the team. After everything Alexandra revealed about the honeypot network, I think Cruz starts noticing an uncomfortable truth. Russia's operation and the Lioness program aren't as different as she'd like to believe. Both use people, mostly women, to get close to targets and extract loyalty through manipulation. The intent is different. The method isn't. If Cruz says that out loud to Joe this episode, I don't think Joe has a clean comeback. Because somewhere underneath it all, she already knows Cruz is right. Then there's Kyle. He believed Alexandra when almost no one else did, and he pulled back before things got ugly with her family. That tells us he still has limits, even under pressure from Byron. If this hunt pushes the team toward darker tactics, Kyle is the one most likely to push back, and possibly the one forced into an impossible choice between protocol and protecting someone who doesn't deserve to die for this. And here's a theory I genuinely can't shake. What if one of the senators on Alexandra's list isn't a blackmail victim at all? What if he's working with Russia willingly, out of loyalty or personal gain, not coercion? This season has hammered one message from episode 1: trust no one. What if the biggest hornet in this hive was never being controlled in the first place? So here's what I need from you. Who's really holding Joe, Russian intelligence, or Alexandra's brothers looking for revenge? Does Neil finally snap and demand Joe walk away for good, or does he stay quiet a little longer? And is there a senator on that list who's a willing traitor, not a victim? Drop your theory in the comments, because you all have called things before I did more times than I'd like to admit. And if you're not done yet, the next video on your screen is exactly where you need to go. Don't leave. It gets better.